It's a day of meetings with Premier Doug Ford, visiting Prime Minister Carney in Ottawa, and a slew of European leaders headed to the White House.
So joining us live now with more on these high-profile talks is CTV's political commentator Scott Reid. I feel like it's not Tuesday yet. This is typically when we talk to you. But of course, here we are, a lot happening today. Scott, let's start with the Prime Minister and Premier having a meeting here. The Premier going and saying, look, we need to get some tax cuts. Do you think that Ford is going to make a sort of compelling case to Mark Carney, or is he already kind of considering that?
I think he's already considered. To be fair to Carney, the first two things he did when he took office, kill the consumer carbon tax and then to lower the middle class taxes, so income tax. So, Ford may be pushing on an open door, but I think there's more to this than just that. I think Doug Ford's going to he wants to be seen to be pushing for further tax cuts, a variety of tax cuts. I think behind closed doors, Doug Ford's also going to be pushing for, remember those big national projects. So I think Doug Ford's going to be lobbying the Prime Minister saying, here's 2 or 3 of those big, massive infrastructure projects, energy projects that we in Ontario want to see. And the last thing I would say is this, guys. We know that since Carney came to office, he and Doug Ford have gotten along like a summer romance, but happy marriages can get tested by finances. So we'll see. As it turns to money and taxes, will their relationship get strained?
Okay, we'll be watching closely for that. In the meantime, Scott, we know that President Vladimir Putin and, of course, President Donald Trump, they met on Friday. Nothing really came out of that in terms of a deal. But now Trump is meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky, president of Ukraine, at the White House. This is for round 2. But Prime Minister Carney not invited to that. What are we expecting to see from this?
Well, I think the fear of Zelensky and of the European leaders. The EU president's going to be there. We're going to have leaders from France, Germany, United Kingdom, NATO. I think their fear is that there was a lot that got accomplished during that summit, and it was all bad. And then we could be on the verge of an historic betrayal of the international order since the Second World War. Donald Trump promised that unless there was a ceasefire, there could be no further talks. Well, he blew past that. Putin appeared to roll him like a log. Now the rumor is that Trump wants to say that what's called the Donbass region, which is rich in coal, iron ore, maybe critical minerals, that all that should be given over to Russia. And I think European leaders are saying, hang on, we are going to take what? A flimsy promise from Putin that he won't charge tanks again 2-3 years from now in exchange for what? And the question arises, of course, what promises did Putin make to Trump? Did he say, listen, give us all this rich land and we'll carve you a bunch of the revenue from these from these minerals? I think this is a really worrying situation, and compounded by the trade tensions, because Europe has to stand up to Trump just at a time where Trump is threatening to make everything even more expensive and to shut down trading relationships. So this could be a real collision.
Yeah, so that's really worrying on the sort of geopolitical international front. But let's bring it back local here again, Scott, and talk about what we just saw with Courtney at Pearson Airport this morning. This is, these Air Canada flight attendants on strike, digging in their heels, going against the CIRB order. What do you make of what must be happening from the government, federal government specifically, about this ongoing labor dispute now?
Well, the government's been very quiet. And, they moved rapidly to order the flight attendants back to work. It's supposed to be the job of the Industrial Relations Board now to basically, arbitrate a deal. But all that's gone into chaos. And I think the federal government has got to take a more of a leadership role. I don't know what their next step is. But yesterday they were very quiet. The Labor Jobs Minister has been quite quiet, other than ordering people back to work. And here's the point I would make. If you're the federal government, and you're ordering back a group of workers who enjoy 60, 70, 80% of popular support, people think the flight attendants are getting a raw deal, and you are ordering them back to work. You have an obligation to get out in front of that, communicate why that is in the public interest, communicate why that is in the interest of the flight attendants. And I think the government's silence on this is going to make this mess more of theirs, and it's going to make it a bigger challenge. So if I was the Prime Minister, I'd be ordering my jobs minister out to the microphones today, try to take control of this, try to resolve it. But it looks like they are at loggerheads.
Yeah, okay. We've seen Section 107 of the Labor Code invoked many times, so we'll see what happens there. CTV's political commentator, Scott Reid, always a pleasure. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
See you tomorrow. Yeah, thanks, Scott.